Lee Ian-bai sat at the back of her classroom, her head down as a group of girls whispered harsh words just loud enough for her to hear. They didn't bother hiding their laughter or sneers. Every day was the same. Cold stares, cruel jokes, her books pushed to the floor, and her locker vandalized with words that cut deep. She had become invisible in every way that mattered and painfully visible in every way that hurt. The few classmates who weren't involved simply looked the other way, as if she didn't even exist. Outside of school, Ian-bai returned each night to a group home. She was an orphan, and the reality of being alone often felt as harsh as the bullying. But in that place, she found moments of peace with the younger children, whose smiles and trust reminded her that kindness could still exist, even in small doses. Then, one afternoon, a surprising break in her routine, a package appeared, addressed to her, sent by someone named Songmi Ji-yun. For Ian-bai, a girl used to being forgotten, the unexpected gift felt like a lifeline in a world where she'd long felt adrift. This brings Ian-bai a moment of happiness, and we learn that this isn't the first time this person has sent her gifts. In a parallel storyline, we meet Ian-bai Yeol, who looks exactly like Ian-bai. However, her life is very different. As she prepares for a school trip, it becomes clear that she comes from a wealthy family. She seems popular at her school and has several friends. But not everything is perfect. She receives a message from someone named Yong Soo-in, warning her that not everything from the past can stay hidden, leaving her visibly shaken. Back to Ian-bai, she learns that her bullies, especially their leader, Kong Seo-young, have signed up as volunteers at her group home. This seems to be just another excuse to bother her. They claim that Seo-young's wealthy father, a prosecutor, wants to provide financial support to the home, which excites the home's director but leaves Ian-bai wary. Despite her doubts, she decides to give them a chance. Meanwhile, one of Ian-bai Yeol's friends, Lee Shur-jin, notices her acting strangely and decides to check on her. But suddenly, she sees Ian-bai Yeol arguing with a boy, which only raises more questions. However, she chooses not to follow her. At the same time, Ian-bai realizes she's been deceived by Seo-young, leading to a confrontation that almost results in Seo-young being hit by some pipes. However, Ian-bai unexpectedly protects her. The next day, Ian-bai Yeol is seen at a cafe, calling the group home under her mother's name to get Ian-bai's phone number. This reveals that she has been the one sending the gifts and has known of Ian-bai's existence all along. However, Ian-bai doesn't answer the call, and Ian-bai Yeol leaves the cafe. Ian-bai Yeol heads to a restroom, where suddenly the lights go out, and someone enters. Nervous, Ian-bai Yeol asks if this person will ever leave her alone, before letting out a terrified scream. Later, as the group prepares to leave, they realize Ian-bai Yeol is missing, and a desperate search begins, but she is nowhere to be found. Meanwhile, Ian-bai faces a school disciplinary committee after Seo-young falsely accuses her of deliberate harm, leading to her unfair expulsion. Overwhelmed by this injustice, Ian-bai decides to end her life by jumping off a bridge. However, she's saved at the last moment by a mysterious figure. Elsewhere, we learn that Ian-bai Yeol has been missing for 10 days, and her mother, Mi Ji-yun, has been distributing flyers to find her. Finally, she receives a miraculous call from a hospital, saying they've found her daughter. She rushes there and finds an unconscious Ian-bai, relieved as she assumes it's her daughter. When Ian-bai wakes up, the woman introduces herself as her mother. Though initially surprised, Ian-bai slowly accepts this, albeit with confusion. A doctor then informs the woman that Ian-bai has amnesia, leaving her unsettled. Meanwhile, Ian-bai Yeol's childhood friend, begins recalling the last time he saw her, revealing that he was the boy she was arguing with the night she disappeared. Ian tries to give Ian-bai Yeol a gift, but she's too upset to accept it and runs off, leaving him alone at the pier. Later, Ian learns from her friend, Cha-song Yeol, that the Ian-bai he knows, actually, our protagonist, Ian-bai, has been hospitalized. Both of them rush to the hospital to see how she's doing. When they arrive, Ian-bai tells them she doesn't remember who they are, nor even her own name, leaving both of them stunned. They decide it's best to let her rest and leave the hospital. Once Ian-bai is discharged, Mi Ji-yun takes her to their home. That night, her mother shows her an old photo album from Ian-bai Yeol's childhood and explains that she was adopted when she was 5. Shocked by the news, Ian-bai is assured by her mother that deep down, she already knew and may remember more in time. The next day, Ian-bai returns to school, escorted by Cha-song Yeol, who tells her classmates about her memory loss, leaving everyone surprised. Later, Ian-bai and her friends are invited out, and they agree to join. At one point, Cha-song Yeol claims she forgot her wallet and turns to another classmate, Yun Ian, as if she has just found it. They all head to a karaoke spot, having fun together, except for Yun Ian, who struggles to pay because her mother froze her card. When they can't pay, the karaoke owner takes them to the police station, but luckily, their teacher bails them out. The following morning, Yun Ian arrives at school with a teacher and demands that Ian Bai open her locker. Confused and nervous, Ian Bai says she doesn't remember the combination. With help from a classmate, Gong Taikwang, they manage to open it and find jewelry inside. Yun Ian accuses Ian Bai of stealing her mother's jewelry. The scene leaves Ian Bai speechless, but before she can be taken to the principal's office, Ian pulls her aside, advising her to be careful about who she trusts, assuring her of his support. In another scene, Yun Ian tells her side of the story, claiming Ian Bai Yeol threatened to steal her mother's jewelry if she didn't give her money. Despite this, she asks the teacher to avoid escalating the situation and wishes to return things to normal. Her plea, however, prompts her mother to demand an investigation, which Yun Ian tries to stop before storming out, visibly upset. The investigation proceeds, with most classmates noting that Yun Ian often gave gifts and paid for things willingly, and many doubt that Ian Bai would have stolen the jewelry. That evening, Yun Ian goes to retrieve her things from her locker to avoid her classmates, unaware that Ian Bai is at school too. Ian Bai realizes their lockers were actually swapped, and confronts Yun Ian, asking why she falsely accused her. Yun Ian admits she did it because she's tired of being seen as the class's wallet and resents Ian Bai. In another scene, Ian Bai and Ian talk by the school pool, and as they begin playfully splashing each other, Ian Bai accidentally falls into the water. Underwater, she starts to regain memories of her attempt to end her life. But the most shocking realization is that the person who saved her was Ian Bai Yeol herself. When Ian pulls her from the water, she's left stunned and silent. The next day, at a disciplinary hearing, Ian Bai surprises everyone by admitting that she pressured Yun Ian for the jewelry. She says she regrets her actions, expressing understanding of how painful it is to feel friendless and used. This move touches Yun Ian deeply, and she later asks her mother to transfer her to a different school for a fresh start. Before she leaves, she draws farewell sketches for her classmates, who are saddened by her departure. After a seemingly positive resolution, Ian Bai decides to leave, leaving a letter for Mi Yun explaining everything. She then returns to the hospital where she had first woken up and starts searching for clues, asking if there was another girl admitted with her. However, everyone tells her no. She calls another place to find out if there was another person present when she was rescued, only to learn that the only other person found was a young girl's body. This information unsettles Ian Bai, and she heads to a funeral home, where she unexpectedly finds an urn with her own name on it, though it actually belongs to someone else. Meanwhile, Mi Yun searches for answers as well and heads to the love home, the orphanage where Ian Bai stayed. There, the director informs her that Ian Bai died about a month ago due to the relentless bullying she faced at school. The director, unaware of Mi Yun's previous involvement, expresses her gratitude for the gifts Mi Yun had sent to Ian Bai. Later, Mi Yun visits the location with Ian Bai's urn and encounters our protagonist there. Mi Yun struggles to accept that her real daughter is gone, ultimately breaking down in Ian Bai's arms. Later, Mi Yun drives Ian Bai back to the love home. Just as Ian Bai is about to get out of the car, Mi Yun has a change of heart and asks if she'd like to return with her, living on as Ian Bai Yeol so they can continue as mother and daughter. At first, Ian Bai hesitates, but finally accepts, as she deeply wants to stay with Mi Yun, whom she now considers her mother. Ian Bai returns to school but immediately heads to the nurse's office, overwhelmed and needing a break, where she runs into Taegi Wang. The two share a conversation, developing an unusual friendship, as Ian Bai feels she can be herself around him. The next day, her teacher introduces a new student to the class, and to Ian Bai's surprise, it's her former bully, Seo Yun, who is equally shocked by the encounter. In an awkward attempt to fit in, Seo Yun tries to join Ian Bai's group of friends, which makes Ian Bai uneasy, and rightfully so. At home, Ian Bai digs into news reports from the day she attempted to jump off the bridge and finds several articles detailing her bullying at school, which led to her actions. Suddenly, she receives a mysterious email from a sender named Yun Su-in, the same person who had messaged Ian Bai Yeol before her disappearance, containing a code pointing to a library book. Later on, Seo Yun speaks with her former classmates, pointing out how similar Ian Bai Yeol looks to Ian Bai and saying she'll send a photo as proof. Just as she's about to take the photo, Taegi Wang steps in, stopping her and telling everyone that Seo Yun was trying to take a secret picture, angering Ian Bai, who leaves abruptly. Seo Yun isn't deterred and soon finds a missing person flyer of Ian Bai Yeol, showing it to her friends. They're stunned by the resemblance and start to wonder if the two might be twins. Later, Seo Yun tries to apologize to Ian Bai for the photo incident, drawing the attention of everyone in the room as they wait to see how Ian Bai will respond. However, Ian Bai simply stands up and walks out, leaving her classmates wondering if the real Ian Bai Yeol has returned. Outside, Ian Bai is stopped by another student named Yun Miyu, who asks if she's Yun Su-in. Surprised, Miyu explains that Su-in passed away the previous year. Shocked by this revelation, Ian Bai hurries home to go through Ian Bai Yeol's belongings, finding a library card that leads her to the book mentioned in Su-in's message. Inside the book, Ian Bai finds a message from Su-in, expressing that she and Ian Bai Yeol would always be friends, even though Ian Bai Yeol had distanced herself. There are also pages torn from what appears to be a journal, revealing Su-in's feelings. Ian Bai takes the pages home, discovering that they reveal Ian Bai Yeol was being tormented by someone unknown, believing it was a punishment she deserved. Ian Bai realizes the pages were ripped directly from her sister's private diary, leaving her feeling deeply unsettled. The next day, Seo Yeon contacts Ian Bai and asks to meet. When they gather, Seo Yeon begins recounting a story about a girl who was once ostracized at school and, because of her, was eventually forced to transfer after the tragic scandal surrounding her death. Ian Bai tries to ignore her, but Seo Yeon soon realizes who she really is. She confronts Ian Bai, pushing her and blaming her for everything that happened, but Tae-hwan arrives just in time to intervene. Taking the opportunity, Ian Bai reveals that she actually had a twin sister whom no one at school knew about, and that her sister had jumped off that bridge due to the relentless bullying. This revelation leaves Seo Yeon stunned and Tae-hwan visibly shocked. Ian Bai then warns Seo Yeon that she'll reveal the full truth if she keeps pushing, before walking away. Unconvinced, Seo Yeon decides to find proof that Ian Bai Yun isn't who she claims to be. She manages to take one of Ian Bai's notebooks from the classroom when it's empty and compares the handwriting with her own, noticing that they look identical. The next day, a surprising twist occurs when rumors start circulating that Seo Yeon was transferred because she caused another student's death. Disturbed, Seo Yeon confronts Tae-hwan, accusing him of spreading the rumor, but he denies any involvement. Not believing him, she warns him not to trust Ian Bai Yun, claiming she's not who she says she is. She shows him the pages comparing the handwriting, threatening to expose Ian Bai. Alarmed, Tae-hwan takes Ian Bai with him and skips class, asking on the bus if he can call her by her real name, leaving her speechless. Meanwhile, back at school, Seo Yeon tries to clear her name by having a friend tell their classmates that the rumors are true, but that the incident happened at another school, not theirs. This explanation convinces the group. On the bus, even though Ian Bai doesn't admit anything to Tae-hwan, he seems to intuitively grasp the truth and advises her to start acting like the real Ian Bai Yun to throw off her bully's suspicions. Taking his words to heart, Ian Bai decides to confront Seo Yeon with the arrogance of the real Ian Bai Yun. Meeting Seo Yeon alone, Ian Bai warns her that if she dares to say anything, no one will believe her anyway. The threat leaves Seo Yeon both surprised and a little intimidated. Karma, at last. The next day, Ian Bai joins her classmates to work on a project related to the school trip they had recently taken. During the project, they mention how it was on that trip that she disappeared. Intrigued, Ian Bai decides to look through her sister's phone records from that day and discovers a call from Miyu. Ian Bai arranges to meet Miyu to discuss what happened during that trip. In the conversation, Miyu reveals that she and Ian Bai Yun had met up during the trip to settle some personal matters. Miyu recalls that she received a message from Su-in that night, accusing Ian Bai Yun of sending those messages, which led to a confrontation in which Ian Bai Yun received a blow to the neck. Tearfully, Miyu admits that Ian Bai Yun confided in her that she, too, had received a message and felt guilty for everything that had happened. Curious, Ian Bai asks Miyu about her sister's relationship with Su-in, to which Miyu replies that Ian Bai Yun had despised her and that the circumstances of Su-in's death remained a mystery. That evening, Ian Bai decides to spend some time with Ian to clear her mind, and the two enjoy a friendly outing. However, Ian notices a scar on Ian Bai's arm, and she inadvertently reveals that she got it when she was 10, learning to ride a bike. This detail sparks Ian's suspicion, as he remembers teaching Ian Bai Yun how to ride a bike and recalls that she had never mentioned such an injury. He begins to suspect that Ian Bai might not actually be who she claims to be. But before he can ask further, He hesitates and decides to leave it alone, choosing to go home and let the matter rest, for now. Later, Ian-bai notices that her history notebook has gone missing and suspects that Seo Yeon might have taken it. She decides to ask in front of her classmates if anyone's seen it, making Seo Yeon visibly nervous. Soon after, Seo Yeon begins feeling unwell and skips gym class to stay in the rest area. After gym, the class has an English assignment due, which was divided by groups. However, when they check their work, they discover that 3 computers were wiped during gym period, affecting the files of Seo Yeon, Ian-bai, and another classmate, Miyun. The next day, the teacher starts investigating who could have done it, reviewing the security footage. 2 main suspects emerge, Seo Yeon and Miyun, who are both called in for questioning. Afterward, Seo Yeon returns to class, where her classmates start accusing her of being behind the computer wipe, once again bringing up her past bullying that allegedly led to a classmate's tragic death. They also mention Ian-bai's missing notebook, and some even empty her bag to see if she has it. Sure enough, they find it there, leaving Seo Yeon in a bad spot. However, later that evening, Seo Yeon's father, District Attorney Kong, uses his position to have a handwriting analysis done, comparing both twins' handwriting professionally and proving they are different. Armed with this, Seo Yeon confronts Ian-bai at school, revealing that she knows the truth and threatening to expose her if she doesn't leave. Undeterred, Ian-bai tosses the evidence aside and walks away. This drives Seo Yeon to desperate measures, and she sends a photo to Ian of Ian-bai at the love home, which leaves him shocked as he realizes the truth. Aware that her secret is out, Ian-bai wants to tell Ian everything herself, so she arranges to meet him in a park. But when they meet, Ian is too overwhelmed to listen and tells her he needs time to think. Frustrated, Ian decides to confront Ian-bai Yeol's mother, Mi Jae-jeon, who confirms the whole story and explains that she had asked Ian-bai to stay with her. She also asks Ian to keep the secret a bit longer, mentioning plans to transfer Ian-bai to a new school so she can start fresh. Devastated, Ian visits Ian-bai Yeol's grave, finally coming to terms with everything and breaking down in tears. Days later, the news resurfaces about Ian-bai's involvement in bullying that allegedly drove a former classmate to harm herself. The accusations weigh heavily on Ian-bai, and classmates begin pointing fingers at her, leaving her distressed. Later, Tae-won approaches Ian-bai, asking if she leaked the story. Ian-bai denies it, but Seo Yeon takes action by contacting Ian, who is at a swim meet, to say she's about to reveal everything publicly. Ian, frightened, rushes to stop her, only to be struck by a car on the way. Meanwhile, Seo Yeon stands in front of the entire class and admits to being the bully in the article but denies that Ian-bai is dead. She then shows a photo ID of Ian-bai from her previous school, leaving everyone in shock. Just then, Ian-bai tries to explain her side, but Ian appears, stopping her. He tells everyone that Ian-bai Yeol was adopted and had a twin sister, whom she only recently learned about due to memory loss, clarifying that it was her twin who passed away. The class, realizing a relative of Ian-bai's lost their life because of Seo Yeon, leaves the bully silent and subdued. Ian exits the room, followed by Ian-bai, but collapses from pain and is rushed to the hospital. At the hospital, the doctor informs Ian's father and coach that his injuries are severe, and he'll need a year of rehabilitation before returning to competitions, leaving them both heartbroken. The next day, Ian-bai visits Ian in hopes of supporting him, but he coldly rejects her, telling her he can't bear to see her and doesn't want her to return. Meanwhile, Seo Yeon's mother isn't about to let accusations against her daughter go unanswered. She meets with the school's principal, Gon Jae-ho, who happens to be Tae-won's father, to demand that Ian-bai be expelled, painting her daughter as the real victim. The principal considers her request, requesting official records on Yang Soo-in's case, as it seems closely connected to the current events. It's also revealed that Ian-bai Yeol had been a key witness in Soo-in's suspicious death. If you want the next part, comment part 2 below, and if there's enough interest, I'll continue. Hope you liked the video. See ya!